Okay, let's try this again. So, hi, my name's David, a Panda, or whatever you know me by. This is gonna be kind of like a week one update, week one take on my Poison Dominating Blow Guardian. I just did like a whole recording, but it didn't pick up, so that's why I'm gonna be probably speaking a bit faster and just going through it. But anyways, the gist of it is I enjoy Dominating Blow. I've done it every league. This league, I've done it on Guardian, and I've done a Poison take on it. Now, right now, I'm pretty sure I'm I want to say the fifth highest Dominating Blow player. Yeah, right here, this is me. The fifth highest Dominating Blow player, and I'm the only one doing it on Poison, because if you look up Covenant, nobody's using it. At least not with Dominating Blow, because if you take off DB, you get all of the other people, Necromancer, Bama, uh, Holy Relic, Poison SRS, but DB, I'm the only one, and I'm doing it on Guardian. So yeah, figured I would upload a little something and just kind of give a quick rundown. And yeah, okay, so why did I pick Guardian? And why did I do Poison? Well, they got a new node this league, first league in like a year. Unwavering Faith, 50% increased reservation efficiency of skills. Now, the great thing about this is that one, 50% increased reservation is crazy. Like just being able to reserve basically another entire aura. But not only that, but it says of skills, which means that it's not just limited. Whereas like in line or like one of those helmet corrupts are kind of lined to something that's kind of restricted to what's socketed with it. That means we can use this on Envy because it just says skills. Now Envy is a oh, service just died for a moment here. Uh, Envy is a skill that it's an aura that I believe is 50% usually. What it does is it gives flat chaos damage to attacks and to spells, and it also says and nearby allies. So most minion builds use this. This is United and Dream. I believe it's an upgraded Breach unique. Uh, Poison on hit, Envy for flat chaos damage. It's a classic combination. But being able to reserve more auras means we can actually not be entirely squishy or useless ourselves, which is the point of why I chose to do it on Guardian, because this is just like crazy. I've combined it with Charisma Anoint on my Replica's Dragon Fang, which just gives more reservations over here. Gives more reservation efficiency. I've combined it with one of the small clusters that gives 50% to Malevolence, another aura we're using. I've combined it with this sovereignty, more reservation. You get the picture, right? And we have the helmet. Uh, I believe it's an eater implicit. Yeah, eater implicit. More reservation efficiency than we have in line support. Um, for the biggest auras we use. So all in all, I've combined just hella reservation efficiency, and look at how many auras we're using. Determination, that's a 50%. We're using Purity of Elements, that's another 50%. We're using Malevolence, that's another 50% aura. Envy, I believe that's a smaller one, but I could be wrong about that. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure Envy is another 50. So another 50% aura. Then I have Tempest Shield, which is a 35% aura. So 5 auras in total. Um, and yeah, and then I'm gonna get into the mercs later. But Poison, that's why I'm doing it on Guardian. That's what the whole gimmick of this build is. Now that we have all of that, we're using the Covenant, which just adds kind of like a 6 link, level 25 added chaos damage. The more flat chaos damage you have on your minions, the bigger their poisons are going to be. And because it's up front, it's really nice because minions already get a bunch of increased damage, for example. Like here, 20%, 20%, across your gear, like 17% if I've used a skill recently, 20% if I've used a minion skill. So if you can buff up the base damage of your minions, all of the minion increased and more modifiers will be able to be stronger at the end. Which is kind of like the gimmick I did last during Frisia with the what's it called, the Paladin build. I'm just doing it on Poison this time around because we have 60% chance to poison here. Uh, Pretty much Darkness and Throne with these two jewels pretty much cover us on getting the last 40%. I do think I have another. Yeah, I have another one here because I didn't really have a good Darkness and Throne or a United and Dream for a while. But yeah, you get 100% chance to poison, and then the rest is pretty self-explanatory. Multi-strike, classic, dominating blow link. minion damage somewhere here. Yeah, minion damage, predator support, withering touch support. 30% of physical is extra chaos damage. Crazy. All of our dominating blow minions just do physical damage, so you convert it to not convert it. You gain it as extra chaos. Boom, boom, more damage. Withered on hit. Withered is what makes poison builds go around. It applies 6% increased damage taken and can be inflicted up to 15 times. It only lasts 2 seconds, but the reason it's great is because we have, like, at any given time, anywhere between, well, could be 0, I guess, technically, to what, 9, 6, 3, maybe like 17 dominating blow minions, not including the ball ones. If you have 15 minions, they all hit at least once a second. In reality, they hit 3 to 4 times a second, and they're not like body blocking each other. You pretty much have max wither stacks at all times, which is just great. And 6% increased chaos damage taken times 15. That's like what, 90% increased chaos damage taken. It's just great. Predator supports and Awaken Unbound ailments. This is just like really good poison DPS. There's not much more else to it. Like, it just increases the duration of them, and then it just gives them more modifier. If you're not a fan of Predator support, you can put Awakened Void Manipulation instead. I like Predator support nowadays because there's so many things going on inside a map that if you can kind of focus all your minions on one dude, it does help out. So that's the main idea, the main links and stuff. The rest are pretty self-explanatory. I'm week 1. I have like what? I have like a div. I have 2 divs in my inventory right now. So I'm not a rich mirror tier, no lifer. I've really just been getting currency and putting it back into the build. So a lot of this gear is kind of, it's not outside of the normal range, but it is pretty good. Uh, this was something I bought off of, I want to say I bought it off trade for like 3 divs, like just earlier today. I had like a 1 div helmet earlier before this with a +2 and the life, but nothing else. I think I crafted on res for that one. This +2 socketed minion gems, I bought the base for 1 div. Essence spammed it with dexterity ones. I ended up here. That's for your level 25 Ray Spectre. And then this one, same thing. I bought the base for a div, spammed it with dexterity essences. Pretty self-explanatory. Now, I want to talk about how we're getting the rest of the auras in. So obviously, we have these 3 big 50 auras. We have Envy that you saw earlier. We have Tempest Shield. But the first step is our Ray Spectre. So Ray Spectre, you can't see it, but it's this guy right here, now on the left. This is Perfect Warlord. He gives endurance charges and vitality, which is just great. That's big defense. That pretty much is our defensive Spectre. We have this guy right here, Perfect Forest Warrior. He's the one in the back right that I'm trying to track here. This guy gives Onslaught, and he has culling with him. So he culls because if he hits somebody at low health, he'll cull them. So I don't really need cull on everybody else. If I can, that'd be nice, but that's pretty much all it is. He's there for Onslaught. Then we have Perfect Forest Tiger. I was using Carnage Chieftain. It's right before this weekend. I found enough. I scrapped up enough divs to buy one. So he gives haste, which is something I was using myself before I got my Merc, which I'll talk about later. But haste, his haste is only like level 10, but he gives frenzy charges. He gives haste. Really hard to turn that down. And then lastly, I just got this Peril Seraphim, which just gives increased damage taken on enemies. Not much more to that. But our Merc, this is the main mechanic of the league. This Merc uses Grace and Aspect of the Spider, which provides like an increased damage taken debuff on the enemies. We combine that with Venomous Shroud, which gives them -10 to all res. All res reduction is kind of hard to find, but this also reduces their chaos res, right? Which is really important. That's like big damage multiplier for us. And they also deal 10% less damage. The enemies, that is, which is really nice. And then the rest of this is just very simple. Like, if you've been watching any sort of PoE content in the last week, you've seen all of these, Asenats with Dodries for the Explode. obliteration for the explode. This asshole rolled brutality, so his EK doesn't really benefit from obliteration. But it's alright. I'm sure we'll find something better. Calms Minding, Shaper's Seed. We used Last Rites, really cheap anoint. It makes enemies that this guy's hit because he has curse on hit. Uh, he they can't regen as much life, which is really nice because we're doing a lot of prickly damage. We're not like doing one big hit like slam builds do. We're just having a bunch of guys like repeatedly punch people down. So Last Rites is really nice, alongside the destroy and recharge part. The interesting thing is that this guy doesn't actually really get that many kills, so the destroyed part doesn't really mess with the Asenats part of it, and you'll see it later. I have just a good pair of boots I bought for like 20C. I threw on him for the life and the res. I put Golden Buckler on him because Mercs have really crazy scaling, like increased X scaling. So if I take this off, you'll notice he has a 1k evasion. I put this on and it's just like it's 4k, but this shield only gives 1k evasion. So he must have at least like 100% increased evasion somewhere in his like coding. But yeah, Grace and Aspect of the Spider. I was using this guy for a very long time. You'll see even some gear still on him. This guy, Blade Bitter, he had Malevolence, which just let me use Haste myself instead. And he had Glittered Bitter Wound, which when he hits people, reduces life regen itself. I really like this guy. Plus, he had like two sixlings. But Malevolence versus Grace and Aspect of the Spider, it's just like too good. But all in all, that's kind of like how I built up my character. The rest, I'm gonna include a POB in the description. Everything's gonna be turned on. You know, you can turn off whatever you don't like to see or what you think is POB fluff. You can turn whatever you want off. But really good. Definitely at least over 10 million pinnacle DPS. I am gonna show one map because my maps take like 2 years to finish. So if you watch my map and you're like, I don't really think his build, like before watching it, if you're still sitting here thinking like, oh, this guy is just glazing this build, uh, I want to show you that like, hey, it's a realistic build that not realistic. Well, in terms of like, you won't get this on day 4. But in terms of the work I put in throughout the week, the first week to get my character here, it's a legitimate build. And you could definitely still play minion skills in unorthodox ways and do whatever you want, so to speak, in Path of Exile. You'll have to go play Volcanic Fissure of Snaking. Just so you know what we're about to walk into, this is just like a normal T16 rare, but I'm doing a build where I'm using all 4 masters, so that's Einhar, June, Nico, and Alva. There's a lot of chaos in my map. I mean chaos is in like, just like you'll see, like the FPS will drop here to like God knows, probably like 10 FPS. It'll make for a bad video, but at least you'll know what kind of stuff I'm doing with this. Eventually, I'm gonna go do Maven Essences, just like last league. Especially because they added quality of life, where you can just corrupt essences now with one click instead of like opening your inventory, pulling out the whatever it's called, the essence of corruption, and then going through all that. But yeah, this build is really nice. I'm currently delving. Well, I'm trying to delve, I should say, so that we can get some of the delve gear that people are just jacking up in price, like Crown the Tyrant. But yeah, I should mention that we're using Aegis Aurora. Nowadays, not a lot of people really use Aegis Aurora. It's kind of fallen out of favor just because like stuff like Savalan, Shaper Shields, you know, even the Surrender exists. But I'm still a fan, and I mean we have 1,700 ES, so anything that can kind of take advantage of that and keep that up is really nice to me. I want to keep Furuishi, dude. He's kind of cool. I'm also still not too good with betrayal, so don't expect this build to this video to be like a betrayal guide or anything. Yeah, my maps take a long time, but my build's just so comfy that like I can't resist doing it like this. Oh, I like this. Look at this kinesis, guys. This guy's broken. I want to make sure none of his gears are crazy. Alright, let's just hire this guy. We will reserve him over. I'll do over my other kineticist. I've had that one for a while. I probably should have taken his gear off before I did that though. But yeah, and you can just see right there, like, it might have looked a little spooky, but all the complaints people have been saying about like mercs being crazy and all that, like that hasn't really been something I've I've felt, but that's probably just because I have like max block, determination, all that. You can't really blame me, and all my minions take all the aggro, right? Like I'm sure if I opened up that infamous kill merc challenge, you see how many I've killed already. Actually, let's do that after this temple. Yeah, let's see real quick. Can I pause and do it? No, I can't. Thanks, GGG. By the way, the pause thing is actually awesome. Don't let me. Yeah, so defeat any 15 of the following infamous mercenaries in level 78 or higher areas. Y'all know I've been only doing T16s, and I've killed all these guys. I even killed the Bastion guy with the stupid shield crush that does one shot pretty much any build. And pause speed is really nice. I should probably go back to talking about the build. The playstyle is as comfy as ever. You can tell I have Arcanist Brand to do a lot of my work. Like, it does all the curses, it does the offerings. Um, Signal Prey is only there for like the big rares. You know, I've been farming Ironheart, so if there's like a scary red beast, I'll mark him, and then all my minions will kind of collapse upon him. Summon Sentinel Rainins, you press this, you know, every so often. You get a minion that just gives you Fortify pretty much. Well, at least he's essentially a Fortify. Dominating Blow, you just punch people every now and then. And yeah, the movement skills, of course. Yeah, just put Leo up in there. Alright, drop me a headhunter for the video. If I can press the button. Oh, what's a leather belt? That could have actually been a headhunter. Yeah, just going through. You can see my maps are pretty crazy. Like, I know I'm not doing like a T16.5, but I hope this is enough of convincing that like I'm not just showing you some like garbage build, like some garbage 10C build. Going through here. This is at the end of the day a very single target focused build, but the thing I want to point out is that with the mercs and the Asenath's touch and all that, you can actually get a bunch of clear. It's this like goldish explosion you've probably been seeing. And that's not something I really get to say with Dominating Blow. I might go out and craft another Anime Guardian chest like I did during Settlers that just has that elevated explosion mod, or I think it's a Crusader mod, that gives explosion. I might do that again, but we'll have to see, especially because Anime Guardian doesn't lose their items anymore. I will eventually save up for Kingsmaker, so there's that too. In case you haven't noticed, we have Exarch Witness, and all I'm doing is clicking ones that say Eldritch Minions. Like, I'm not even looking at what the downside is. If the top part says Eldritch Minions, that's what I click. And this is Jungle Valley, so we should be seeing a lot more of those, considering bosses still they haven't spawned in yet. Everybody in my friend group knows me for playing Alba, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing in this video. If you haven't done Alba before, it's a really nice way to make consistent money. It's not going to make you rich, and in fact, it hasn't really made me rich, but it's really nice, really consistent. I've been double corrupting my own covenants, and then just selling off the bad ones. This one doesn't have any good on it. Like the one I'm wearing right now that has +1 to all socketed gems, that was one I created myself, which is, I was pretty happy about that. Of course, the best world would be one where I get +2 minions to +2 duration, but it is what it is. I'm also pretty sure if you look on PoE Ninja, you'll see how I got here, like from day one to where I am now. I was using the new Shaper staff for a while, and it was really nice. I highly recommend people use that new Shaper staff. I believe it's called the Legacy of the Rose, or it might be the Yu-Gi-Oh game. I'm not sure, but highly recommend that to all those that don't know. This new staff, it gives +5 to all spell skills. And the reason that's broken is because if you equip Fall Dominating Blow, uh, you get the spell tag, which also applies to the base gem. So you get +5 to your Dominating Blow, alongside, +5 to all your auras and +5 to your Raised Spectre. Just a crazy staff, and the staff nodes are really good. A lot of people underestimate the staff nodes. Like there's a staff mastery that gives life and ES on block. Now people work to create a good Shaper Shield just so they can get that, or they buy a unique like the Surrender or Aegis for that. But stave users just get it for free. So you can see though this build is very efficient, and all the auras at the top make you feel so much better. But alright, I'm pretty sure that's it for me. That was a map, so you can see it in action. It's not just me talking or me showing a POB. The POB will still be in the description. But yeah, Dominating Blow, Poison, Guardian. You'll still see my character on the list, so if you got any questions, you can always message me or leave a comment down below. Thanks for your time. Take it easy.